Hello Game Hunters, I'm Nihilus and today we'll be talking about Anime War. I'm going to assume each and every one of you watching knows what Anime War is, unless you are one of those unfortunate enough to be in the many Facebook and Discord groups I spammed the video link in. But for the sake of the professionalism of the video, I'll present you with a very abridged version with a pretty pink bow on top. Anime War is a fan animated series created by MastarMedia as the follow-up to his other animated series, Goku vs. Saitama. This series started out as a one-off 4 years ago and has been growing and expanded on since then as Mastar gained more and more followers who requested more and more episodes. Goku vs. Saitama starts as just that, Goku vs. Saitama. But soon after, Vegeta and Genos joined the fight, and it is quickly realized the fight started over a misunderstanding on Saitama's part, as he was originally after Goku Black, the new villain introduced into the series. Goku Black wanted to fuse with Goku and gain enough power to exact his plans, and is quite powerful. So much so that he has a new godly transformation known as Omni Super Saiyan, and not even Gogeta Super Saiyan Blue was enough to take him down. He was ultimately defeated by the combined efforts of Goku, who achieved the newly introduced transformation, and Saitama in his own newly introduced transformation known as Berserker Mode. Our heroes don't get the time to rest, however, because this is where the plot of Anime War kicks in. You see, Goku Black was created by the evil gods, who have now appeared themselves to provide exposition and generally fuck up everyone's day. The leader of the evil gods, Zarama, wants to overthrow the Omni King, and to do that, he and his posse have to steal enough God Ki, utilizing their ability known as Dark Siphoning. Fortunately for our heroes, the arrival of the evil gods created rifts in time and space of the anime multiverse, and characters from all kinds of beloved anime decided they won't let that crap happen without a fight. So now we have Naruto, Sasuke, Monkey-D Luffy, Ichigo, Mastar's very own character Soren, and that one pink-haired kid from Fairy Tail defending the planet alongside a plethora of Dragon Ball characters. And yes, I know his name is Natsu. Battles ensue, new transformations and techniques are revealed, but even with all that, our heroes were simply not enough to overthrow the evil gods until Soren took away their cheat mode and 4 of them were sufficiently weakened. Unfortunately, Zarama pulls out his Deus Ex Machina and fuses with the others in the most badass motherfucking villain I've ever seen in a fan animation. And I'm not just saying that because he's based off my design. The newly formed evil Omni-God Archon instantly and effortlessly starts picking off heroes one by one until Whis sacrifices himself to save Beerus, which triggers the Omni King himself to make an appearance, and shit really starts to hit the fan. During the fight between Archon and the Hands of Gods, it is revealed Zeno's guards were merely extensions of himself, and he absorbs them back into himself so he can attain his battle form and really start doing some damage to the universe. Archon. He's fighting Archon, right? Anyway, while the fight between the two Omni-Gods is going on, our heroes hatch a plan to take down Archon with a Deus Ex Machina of their own.
The Multiverse Spirit Bomb.
With Naruto and Luffy's help, Sasuke opens portals to the other universes for some reason, and Goku and Vegeta fuse into Omni Super Saiyan Gogeta to perform the Spirit Bomb, but not before smacking the ever-living hell out of Archon and double fusing with Saitama to prevent Archon from simply draining Gogeta out of his Omni form. Zeno sacrifices himself to hold Archon in place while Gogetama quickly instant transmissions the entire fucking planet away as the heart attack Yagami Light gave Archon takes effect and the day is saved, marking the official end to Anime War. Mastar himself calls Anime War a passion product of the fans for the fans, and while it faced many troubles and hardships throughout the production, it managed to reach its conclusion after 4 long years. I've had the opportunity to interview Jake Mastar himself, but before we get into that, I want to say that I didn't record myself sitting there talking to him, so I had no visuals for the video. But I couldn't leave the screen just blank, so I added a quick draw of an unfinished line art I was working on, just to have something in the background as the interview audio plays. I also added stills here and there relevant to the conversation. I will also sound different during this recording because I had to use a different microphone during the interview, as the one I usually use gave me trouble on Discord. You might also notice the video is pretty long, while I did edit it down quite a bit by removing long pauses and some uhs and repeats. I wanted to keep the conversation as genuine as possible so nothing can be misconstrued or taken out of context. With all that said, let's get on with the interview. So first off, we've had a few difficult months behind us. How are you coping with the virus right now? How are you doing?
To be honest, man, like nothing has changed for me. It's literally the exact same thing, with the exception of like not being able to go to the gym to work out. You know, when I was working on Anime War, and I say this all the time, not everybody believes me, but it's the truth. When I say I'm working on this thing like for 72 hours straight at a time, or I haven't left the house in a month. I've just been locked in my cave working on this thing. Like, that's the truth. So considering like I never really went outside anyway, literally nothing has changed for me. The thing is, like, my wife and daughter are here with me, which makes it pretty hard to like make videos because it's like they're loud. They're running. My daughter's 2 years old. She's running around screaming and stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, for me, it's not that big of a deal. I think it's probably affecting other people a lot more. How about you?
For myself, same thing. Exactly the same thing. In exception that I can work a lot less. I work in agriculture, so there's right now not a lot of demand for what we do, so there's not a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of people are struggling right now financially, which sucks.
Yeah, so you've been working on Anime War for 4 years, right? And you've been exhausting yourself working on this project for a long time. But now that it's finally done, now that you're finished, how do you feel about that?
I feel liberated, man. I mean, honestly, even with it getting taken down, I just don't even care. And I know that some people might be scratching their heads, but I was so ready to move on past this thing for so long. And I'd say it was mainly just my fans, like, kept pushing for more. And when I tried to do other things, it was, I got really tired of seeing the comments like, screw this video, just shut up, just make Anime War. And so when people don't give like your other content a chance, I think it's a main source of burnout. Like, seeing those comments was a main source of burnout for me. So just being free from that is a really big deal to me. Just being free to like not have to work on this thing and just be able to work on whatever I want. And now, people will actually give it a chance is everything. And so like for me, I feel like it's a brand new day. I feel like I crawled out of my cave, dehydrated, malnourished, and but I escaped. And now I'm just kind of like in the hospital, like recovering, like trying to get my sleep schedule back on track. But I'm looking outside and there's kids playing out in the yard, and it's like freedom is right there. It's just right now we're all locked up, because of Corona, but it's liberating, man. I mean, what I said when the video got taken down, when it first got taken down, what I said in my video was that like I feel liberated, and that's the God honest truth. Like I haven't wanted to work on this thing for so long. I just kind of felt obligated for the fans, and so I wanted to finish it for them. I wanted to give the best final episode I could for them, even though it was only up for 8 hours or whatever. It was still...
Yeah, that was my next question, by the way. So Pryd did take down the video within 8 hours, right, after it aired?
Yeah.
Did you fear that was going to happen while you were working on it?
Yeah, I mean, even in my final update video, I said, I could work on this thing more. I could be working on it forever, but the reason I want to get it out as fast as possible is because they could take it out the day I release it. I was worried that it would get taken down during the premiere and people wouldn't get to watch the whole thing. That was my main concern. But after 8 hours, just about everybody got to see it, and then they took it down. And as long as people got to see it, it's still good. It still ends the story.
Indeed.
I know people like to twist my words and stuff, but to me, it's always just been about finishing the story. The story itself was the journey. It was like trying to like make your own fan-made animation story is basically near impossible. Hundreds of people have tried. I don't think anybody's actually ever finished. And to me, it was like, I'm just going to do whatever it takes as many shortcuts as I possibly can to make sure that I can get this thing done. And yeah, that met with tons of criticism, right? But I was actually able to finish it at the end of the day.
Yeah, we talked about that on Twitter, by the way. So when I told you that you should finish it regardless because you have been working for so damn long on the series, I wasn't specifically telling you to do it for the fans, right? I wasn't telling you should finish it and upload it. I was telling you should finish what you started because you are not a quitter, I know that, and you have been working on it for so long. So you have to finish it either way. You will feel better if you complete it than if you don't.
Yeah, I was also kind of in between a rock and a hard place because if I didn't finish it, my fans were going to eat me alive. What I saw is after I made the Anime War Taken Down video, I thought that I was like, oh man, I guess this is just an easy way out, you know? But when I tried to make other videos, literally like 99% of my comments were just Anime War. Where's Anime War? When's the final like all that stuff like increased like 100-fold. And it was just horrible. Like I just couldn't even read my comments. A lot of fans were like just downright angry, man. Just like leaving these like super rude comments. Or I don't know if you call them fans, or probably more like just viewers. But I was like, well crap, you know, now I'm screwed because these guys aren't going to let me, you know, make any other kind of content. They're not going to let me move on. But at the same time, if I do finish it, then I can get in trouble with Toei. So I'm basically like damned if I do, damned if I don't. And to me, it was just like the best calculated risk was to just finish it because the fans are the most important thing. So regardless of Toei blocking the final episode, are you relieved that you finished it? Yeah, man, totally. You know, as I said in my Taken Down video, like this, like Anime War's been a blessing and a curse. I got into YouTube to just make people happy, right? It's entertain. Like that's what I love to do. Like before I even did YouTube, I used to do stand-up comedy. Like I just love to put a smile on people's faces. That's the kind of person I am. And, you know, it got to a point where it was just too much. I mean, every episode got harder and harder to do. You know, people always commented how the quality improved that because this was always like more frames, more detail, you know, just stuff like that. And it got to a point where it was just too hard and it was just putting way too much strain on me to do. So even with Toei taking it down, my channel for now is still good. So hopefully they don't go through and like copyright strike like old videos or something. In trying to make fans happy and finish it, I definitely pissed off a company that I highly admire, respect, and look up to, which sucks. Understandable, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. I still respect them. For them taking down, I think it's a few things. I think I wasn't sure if initially, like when it got blocked, if they thought it was just piracy, if it was just some intern, or if it was like, if they actually had it out for me. With the final episode getting taken down after 8 hours, it's pretty clear that they definitely, you know, don't like me. And that, you know, and that sucks. But to be honest, man, I'm kind of sick of Dragon Ball and the community's like been getting on my nerves a lot lately. It's like everybody's always arguing. Everybody, like, if you're on Twitter a lot, it's like everybody's always competing for like who has the most and best knowledge of Dragon Ball. And they're always like arguing. And it's like, when do we stop becoming fans of something? When do we stop becoming a community of people who all enjoy the same show? You know, and instead of enjoying it together, we're competing over each other for like who has the best knowledge of the show. I mean, it just has become so toxic, or like who's the best artist or this and that. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not disappointed in Toei. Like I'm disappointed in like just how toxic the community has really become, especially during times when Dragon Ball is not on the air. It's become even more toxic. Like I noticed that within like 2 weeks of Super ending, the community just started getting like extra toxic. It was like now that they don't have a show to like rally up over. It was like instead of bonding together, they're all like fighting all the time, and it's kind of sad, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. So let's circle that back to that later. Now that the series is finally complete, what are some of the things you are taking the time for to do that you didn't have time for during the production? Hanging out with my daughter. Playing some. Yeah, I saw the photo on Twitter. Very cute kid. I took her for a walk. Grown up really fast too. Yeah, it's crazy, man, how fast they grow. It's really crazy. It's like every day, like they change. Like, yeah. So just spending more time with my family is a big one. Definitely, my wife was feeling neglected. You know, working on Anime War would put a lot of pressure and stress on my marriage, like big time, because it was like she wants to hang out, she wants to do stuff, and I'm like, I can't. I need to work on Anime War. Like, You know, Anime War has always been this thing where people are like, why don't you just work on it casually? And I'm like, you're talking about over 1,000 hours. Like, I don't think people really comprehend like how much time that is. And the only way to get it done is to just basically go in the room of spirit and time for like, you know, a year and just do it, and with no distractions. And that's very difficult to do with a family. Yeah, and so also there's a lot of like video games I missed out on that I really wanted to play. So I just made a video playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot for the first time. So that should be out probably today or tomorrow. I want to play like all these games that I never got to play. And other than that, I mean, the main thing for me is really just getting my health in check, because I was really healthy. I was in the best shape of my life when I started YouTube. And now I'm like basically in the worst shape of my life after like 4 years. And I just feel horrible. And so the main thing for me is like, forget YouTube, forget money. Like the number one most important thing to me right now is really like my health, getting that back.
Eat well, sleep well, enjoy yourself, spend time with friends and family, go to the gym if necessary. That's all important stuff. You need to take care of your body before anything first.
Like, what's the point of having money or fame or anything if you can't enjoy it, and if you're like on your deathbed, you know?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The number one thing should always be in your life should always be your health.
All right, well spoken. In the interview with Blackscape, you already mentioned why you started Goku versus Saitama, and at that time you couldn't find anyone doing animations like it, exception of Carhu, I believe it was called.
Yeah, it was Cartoon Hooligans,
Cartoon Hooligans, yeah, I love those guys. But what I want to do right now is go back even further and hear a little bit about your first animations, which I believe were the League of Legends ones.
Oh god. Yeah.
So what inspired you to start animating in the first place? I know you mentioned Melavello as an inspiration for the Dragon Ball animations, but what inspired you to start animating on YouTube specifically?
Well, let's go like way back. So when I first got into Dragon Ball, when I was in like middle school, my friends and I, we would draw our own like Dragon Ball comics. We'd, you know, change the core characters around and name it something different, but they were still basically Dragon Ball comics. And I always had like a wild imagination when I was a kid, and I would just kind of like zone out and like imagine my own anime like in my head. That's still kind of like how I write story today. I just kind of zone out, and it's like I'm watching an anime like in my head. And that's...
Is that how Anime War came to be?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, actually, I had this conversation with a friend of mine. He's like, I don't understand how does your brain work like that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just imagination, I guess. So yeah, so I always had the dream since I was a kid of being able to put those imaginations of mine into reality, you know, to make them an actual show. But I never knew how to animate. I never knew anything about it. And, you know, after I still draw, like even in college, I still did art and stuff, but it wasn't until I was like 29 years old that I think I stumbled upon like a YouTube video. It was like a how to animate tutorial. And I was like, really? So this is how you do it? And at first, like, I couldn't believe it because like I had no idea of how to animate at all. Like, I didn't know that it was like you have to move the picture, you know, 12 times a second or whatever. Like all these like little micro movements every second that you have to like manually do, like all this insanely tedious stuff. It's crazy
like
to even think about.
Basically.
Yeah. And I think that alone is a cause for a lot of this like naivety that comes with animation, which is a cause for the pain for many animators. Like, why are you taking so long? Why isn't the episode longer? Like, you know, they ask all these questions they don't understand because they don't comprehend the process. And it's like, no matter how many times you explain it to them, only other animators are going to really grasp what you go through. But anyways, so at the time I was playing League of Legends, and I was like, well, let me just give this a try. So I bought like a $60 like no screen tablet and just started tinkering with it, and it was really fun. I mean, it was really, really fun at first. Just learning the process, like making a stick figure move and stuff was like super exciting. And so I kept trying at it, but obviously I guess the tutorials that I watched were outdated or kind of bad or didn't explain the tools properly. And so even through Goku vs. Saitama, I was still doing things like so incorrectly. It wasn't until like Anime War that I started refining the process and like learning tools. So in the beginning, like I was like using the brush tool. I wasn't like coloring properly. I wasn't using symbols. I wasn't tweening. I wasn't doing like a lot of the basic things. And that's the main reason why they looked so bad. I mean, if I would have just used the line tool and colored properly and did it in HD resolution instead of like 480p or whatever the hell it was, it would have looked a lot different. But
That's animation. It's a learning process. You know, you're never done.
it's a journey, man.
It's like art, music, anything that is something you can do. You are never finished. You always learn something new, right?
Yeah. You always, that's true, man. It's a lifelong journey. I mean, even the guys who have been animating for 30 years, you know, they still experiment and create new techniques and stuff that everybody fawns over to this day. It's basically like a limitless application, which is why it's so beautiful. It's just really just about who has the balls to try something new. And then one of the Japanese masters like does some crazy thing like Etano Circus or something, and then like everybody wants to copy it because it's so game changing for animation, you know. But yeah, man, and so I did those like 3 League of Legends animations, and you know, it was pretty brutal because I was like trying to like hand paint all the landscapes, and I got like really sick of that. But I was still proud of like what I did, you know, just even creating something. But I knew it was like dog shit, you know, it looked so bad. And then so it was like my brother's birthday was coming up, and since I was like still excited about animation at the time, I did this like brother versus brother.
That's actually the first animation I watched from you.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, that's the first one I went to, was one of your earlier ones, and I saw just the title and Dragon Ball Z style, and I was like, I need to see this, what it's about, what he's about, because you know, when you contacted me on Discord, no, not Discord, DeviantArt, right? I knew absolutely nothing about you, and the only thing I had heard about you were negative. So I had to see for myself what kind of person you were, and that was the one that made me decide I should lend you Blaze.
Yeah.
Because you put so much work into that animation. It was long as fuck, man.
Yeah.
As a
6 weeks.
Present to your brother. Anyone who would put that much time and dedication into something as simple as an animation for their brother is worth giving the chance, I think, personally.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, not everybody online who hears something is hesitant to judge. I'd say like most people are very quick to judge. And, you know, obviously throughout my career, I've had a lot of naysayers and criticizers and trolls and stuff. And they influence.
I'll come back to that.
they influence a lot of other people. And I've always said, look, guys, you know, like make your own judgments. This is just the world, though. This isn't even just related to me. It's just that people are... There's a very big like sheep mentality just with humans in general, where they hear something from one person, no matter if it's true or not, they're just like ready to jump on this like hate train. It's awful, but I mean, look, man, we used to do the witch hunts back in the day. You know, one guy would be like, oh, this woman's a witch. And they come with, you know, torches and pitchforks. Yeah. And they come with torches and pitchforks, and they're ready to just burn some innocent person alive because like one guy said that this person's bad. This mentality like still exists today. And
you did make mistakes, but that's the point of making mistakes. You need to learn from them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely made plenty of mistakes in the past. You know, I'm no angel, and I definitely had an ego in the beginning when I was growing, and I thought Goku vs. Saitama was like the best thing ever. But, you know, yeah, I think most YouTubers in the beginning get like kind of an inflated ego, like when they grow really fast, because they think like...
I'm the opposite, dude. Like, seriously.
Well,
I have zero self-esteem. Absolutely nothing.
What I wanted to say is you get humbled quickly. So like, while criticism isn't always valid, at the same time, it is important because it brings you back down to earth. And I think a lot like not all the videos made about me, but some of them, like especially when people were able to like approach it from like a neutral perspective and say, you know, I think you're doing these things right, and I think you're doing these things wrong. That's when like you really take notice, you know.
I think the one I mentioned was Jar, basically, just a robot. I think his video was pretty okay, not too bashing like most others did. Like Clothespin, dude, it's like he has a personal vendetta against you. You can be neutral and you can explain the situation. You can say this and this and this is wrong, and this and this and this you are doing right, and you can improve on what you are doing wrong. But the way he does it is like just basically bashing on you and doing absolutely nothing to change it. And I think some YouTubers have this habit of doing that, and nothing comes from that. It's just shitting on people and moving on, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. That's something I actually want to do a video topic on, and it's on the topic of forced negativity, because it's entertaining. Like humans are inherently drawn to drama. And so when you make a video just like bashing on someone or like just solely criticizing them, it's much more exciting than if you're saying good things. So actually, Unbox Therapy just did a social experiment where he released 2 videos at the exact same time. One of them was, you should buy the iPhone SE. And the other one is, don't buy the iPhone SE. Guess which one had more views?
I don't know.
Don't buy. With the negative context. It had 3 times the amount of views. And that's just like human nature. And so what that has caused on YouTube is you get more views for being negative. And so you have these characters that pop up that like, we need to stop this person. Or they're always like using some YouTuber's name in like a negative light because it's drama and it's entertaining. People click it because like we're drawn to it. But
this is one of the reasons why I have no self-esteem on YouTube, basically. Well, because I'm afraid of what could happen if I grow any bigger than I am right now.
Well, you can't be afraid, man. I mean, fear will always prevent you from accomplishing your goals.
Exactly. I can see that in my history. I skip a lot of videos. I skip a lot of time. I make a video and then the next one comes out like a month later just because of my mindset.
Well, when I first started YouTube, I actually had a business partner, and this was kind of the argument that we had and the reason why we split up. And that was because like he wanted like every video to be perfect. Like he would spend like 2 months editing a video that like really should have just been edited in like in 1 day. And perfection is really the death of excellence.
I mean, that is YouTube basically, is the algorithm is speed.
Yes. But it's not even just the algorithm. I mean, you know, I talked to Eric Calderon, he was the producer on Afro Samurai, and he does he's produced a lot of other anime too. And he was saying like most anime, when you release it, it's at like 70% satisfaction. And I think like that same ideology flows through to just like YouTube videos. I release so many videos, dude. Rarely are they ever perfect. And most of the time it's just like, all right, man, I've been working on this enough. Like, let's just release it because I got other videos to make too. Unless it's like a movie or a video game. I mean, even video games, like shoot, how many video games come out and they got all these bugs in them, or this isn't working, there's not enough content, but the deadline's coming up and they just release it and it's only like 70% completion, you know? And so if you're always trying to be a perfectionist, you'll never release content. So you have to just, you know, get it to a point where it's consumable and then release it, you know, depending on like what it is. But
man, this interview is turning into a therapy session. Anyway, so let's move on.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So around episode 7 or 8, don't quote me on that because there's a few videos that I can't watch because they're blocked or disappeared. Anyway, around that time is when I started seeing a huge increase in you talking about putting together a team to produce Demon Rush. But then you also said you would lessen Anime War at that time. What happened is you continued Anime War and Demon Rush never really came to fruition. What exactly happened there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we put together, it's very, 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 very hard to make your own anime. All right. It's like basically impossible, almost. And throughout my career, I kept hitting different milestones where I thought, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready. Now I'm ready. And when we got into the nitty gritty of it, I kept realizing that we just weren't ready. So what happened with Demon Rush, I assembled the animators. We had a team of like maybe 8 guys. And I was dumping like all this money into it. I think, dude, I've spent so much money just conceptualizing Demon Rush, and I have like nothing to show for it. It sucks, but I have a lot of sketches from those guys. I have a lot of landscape art done. I hired a comic book company to do a bunch of pages for the first episode. That ultimately didn't work out. And the thing is, like, I could do it if I didn't have to run a channel and I had employees in the office with me working on it. I could do it. The issues I encountered were everybody's working virtually. All the guys I'm working with also have their own channels, and it was difficult to keep everybody like motivated to continually work on it. And part of that was just like there just wasn't the funding there. If I was able to hire them like full time, I think it would have been a lot different.
Having your own company. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can hire like webgen animators to do cuts, which I think is still something that like I want to do. I still have like all these, you know, artifacts for Demon Rush built, and I think the best process is for me to move forward is like, first find like an amazing artist to be the main artist for Demon Rush, and then have him look over my storyboards and just redraw it in like his great art form, and then get web gen animators and pay them to do specific cuts for the first episode. And then I can basically just turn that into, you know, an actual production of, you know, I can color it and all that stuff. And, excuse me. But it's difficult, man. I don't want to release Demon Rush until it's perfect. Everything else I've released, and this dives back into our previous conversation, has been, you know, 70% satisfaction or even less in a lot of cases. So because this is like my dream, I don't want to release it until I have something really amazing and eye-popping that's going to like, that people in the industry will take a notice at. It's not something that I want to just rush out just to get it out. I kind of did that back like after my first year of animation. It looked like crap and it turned people off. And so I promised them that like the next time I release something for this, it's going to be far better. And obviously, like, I don't want to trace for it. I don't want to rotoscope anything. I want it to be 100% completely original. And if you want to do that, it's obviously going to take like way more time. And so because I like trace and rotoscope, I was able to speed up the process like 50-fold, like way faster. And without that, obviously, it's going to go much slower. So I can't just like focus solely on Demon Rush and not have any money coming in through my channel. Like, I have a family to feed, you know what I mean? Like, I can't just abandon my channel to work on it. So what I have to do is basically work on this in the background on the side. I need to find the right people, and I need funding, man. It's a lot. Like, you've seen, there's a lot of people who, like, fans, I don't know how much time you spend on Twitter, but a lot of people say that they're going to make this Dragon Ball Galaxy, Dragon Ball, you know, this or that. And there's like, I see a new one every single day. You never really see.
I used to be a big part of DeviantArt, and I see the same over there as on Twitter, any other major community type of site, all the same thing. Yeah, I see that a lot.
And with Dragon Ball, you have all these like references that you can use. You know how like fighting goes and all this stuff. If you're trying to make your own anime, you need like fresh concepts, and that stuff requires like masters, you know. And I don't really have the resources. I think like the main thing I really need first is just find the artist. Like, I don't want to be the main artist. I'm not nowhere near close to being good enough, but I can write the story and storyboard it and produce it and direct it. I can do all that stuff, but I want somebody who's like close to Murata level to be like the artist, because like the art is super important. I mean, it's not everything, but it's one of the, you know, probably like top 3 most important things for any show, for any anime, is the art.
Well, one proves that you don't have to be a great artist to,
that's true,
you know, make a great story.
That's very true.
He's one of the best examples you can have.
Right. I said it's not everything, but it is important. But I mean, look at Murata's art, man. My God.
Yeah,
like
he put his art and one's writing together so well. It's amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the story is incredibly important. The art's incredibly important. And the pacing, I think, of the story is incredibly important. That's something that a lot of people miss the mark on. Because like, you're fighting to maintain the audience's attention. And so how you do that is an art form in itself, which I think a lot of people just completely disregard. And then there's even more.
Sometimes it can go too slow. Sometimes it can go too fast. Finding the perfect equilibrium between those two is not an easy task.
Exactly. Like, you have like building suspense and then giving a grand performance is an art form. Yeah. Okay, what else you got?
So, while we were talking about that, at the end of episode 13, Soren does say, "Don't worry about goodbyes, you'll be seeing me around soon." So this proves that you're not giving up on Demon Rush. I assume, at least, that message wasn't directed at Goku, but more to the viewers.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm not going to just jump right into it. Like, I want to get my health in check before I start the animation process again. But I'm not going to do like any more Anime War or Goku vs. Saitama or Akumo or any of that stuff.
But we can expect to see Demon Rush somewhere down the line.
Yeah. So like, the first thing I want to do is like a trailer for it, maybe like 2 minutes or something, maybe even a minute and a half. But I just want it to look like fucking good. I want people to like take notice that like, whoa. Like, what is this anime? So the goal is to put together a little clip like that and then basically start a GoFundMe and raise funding so I can hire web gen animators and stuff like that,
that's
and
an
make
idea.
more landscapes. Yeah, so getting to that first minute and a half might be a little tricky. I mean, I'm not ready to just jump into it now, but like I still have my tablet, you know, that's not going anywhere. And I think it's a good opportunity for me to like experiment with animation as well, like just for fun. Like while I'm not working on Anime War, like I have so much more free time now. So
Yeah.
maybe just even a couple hours a night, just spend it at doing some experimental animation, trying to make some really cool stuff. Maybe post some of the Genga to Twitter, you know, raise some awareness, and you know, just have fun with it, man. Just like really like learn to enjoy animation again. You know, if I can put together just a minute and a half, man, that's all it's gonna take. But it needs to be perfect.
All right. Going to episode 13, you changed up the formula a bit, adding the English voice and narrating some of the key points in the episode. I'm assuming that's not what you always planned for the episode. Does Toei blocking the series have anything to do with that?
Yeah, totally. I did not plan on having the narration, although I think it turned out pretty well. So when they blocked it and I made my response video, I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe I'll just make a video like explaining it. And then I said, like, I don't want, like, I already had like 17 minutes of animation done. I didn't want it to go to waste. And it would have felt really weird and just crappy and disappointed fans, I think, a lot if I would have just showed the 17 minutes and then the rest was just like talking over pictures of other anime or sketches or whatever. It would have ruined it. You know, it would have just shown it to be like unfinished, and it would have been unsatisfactory, I think, to everyone. So I thought to myself,
it was a good
like,
solution. Yeah.
thought to myself, like, how can I finish this and make it feel satisfactory but skip months of work? And so that's basically the solution I came up with. And the main thing was just basically like animating the ending. So that took me like a few weeks, and just used narration to fill in the gaps. And that's how it turned out.
So speaking about cutting, there were a few things taken out of the script, like, for example, the appearance of Broly and Bardock, the entirety of episode 8 somehow. Were there any other things you really wanted to add but had to cut out because of things like that and time restraints?
No, not really. I mean, I think I pretty much accomplished it all. I mean, episode 8, I cut out all the fighting with, you know, Madara and Boros and all those
you
guys.
explained why as well.
Yeah, I explained. I mean, yeah. So after episode 7, I was like, I made a video like, guys, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, if anybody wants to finish Anime War, I'll tell you how it ends, and you guys can do it. But like, I don't want to do it anymore. And that just never went over well with the fans, dude. Like,
yeah, it never does it?
They just would not let me stop. And so I think I took like a 6 months off or something before I got out like the next episode. I skipped it and did War Weekend, but I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I want to just finish it as fast as possible. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much accomplished everything else I wanted to. Maybe sped things up a little bit, but for the most part, it's correct.
All right. So what really confused me in episode 13 is why Sasuke needed to make the portals, as there were portals all over the multiverse open already. And we see the characters from them watching the fight against the villains in episode 11, and our heroes came from them. So can you elaborate a bit on why Sasuke had the necessity to do that?
Yeah, so the portals were opening during times of great energy clashes and stuff like that. So the first time they opened was when the Big Bang Omni Dragon Fist exploded on Black Goku, and that's when they first opened. And then, so I guess it was meant to be assumed, I guess I never showed it, it was meant to be assumed that they, you know, when there's this mega clash, it like kind of rips open the universe.
So they open and they close again.
Yeah, they open and close again. And then when Archon fused, it created such a massive amount of energy that they opened and then closed again. Yeah, I guess I should explain that better.
Well, you just did. Gear 5th Luffy. He uses a new technique to turn the surrounding area into rubber, seemingly imbued with haki, which I personally think is a pretty nifty ability, and I see it having a lot of practical use in his own universe. But in Anime War, it felt a bit pointless to use it against Archon, because he would likely just break right through it if he wanted to. Why was that necessary?
Yeah, so Balance World was supposed to have like a lot of cool moves with it. Like he could basically infuse his arm like with the planet, and then punches would like these giant hockey fists would be like coming out like all over the planet. And he would also basically be able to like teleport. Like he would kind of melt into the rubber and then like appear somewhere else. And so I was gonna do a lot of really cool stuff with it. When it was originally done, which was like two and a half years ago by MERIMO. We were planning on doing that for like one of the fights that Luffy was involved in.
So the version we got in the episode was not complete. It was not what you wanted to.
It was just
show.
it was animation that I've always wanted to use. But I never like got the opportunity to, and I didn't want anything to go to waste, right? Because that's stuff that took animators a long time to do. And so, one of the things I wanted to show in episode 13 that I skipped was basically like there was just going to be like explosions going on all over the planet, and all of the characters were like flying around, just getting knocked all over the place, getting screwed up from just these two Omni gods like clashing against each other. And I didn't get to animate all that stuff. So the point
we
of
did see one moment in episode 13, I believe, where they fly away just because of the amount of damage that is happening. I also noticed one thing. Gohan is a Super Saiyan God.
Yeah, I messed that up.
He flies away as Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and then in the scene after that, he's Super Saiyan God again.
Yeah, so he was supposed to be... He was
Yeah.
supposed to be God, and then what I did was to kind of sell the scene a little bit more. I wanted to reuse one of the previous time that they flew, and all I did is I just basically flipped the video, right? And so you'll see that Gohan's shirt is actually torn on the wrong side on the second time, and that's why his hair is also blue. But dude, I was so delirious working on that thing, like I didn't even know where I was anymore. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna see like a lot of mistakes like that. I mean, when I rewatch it, I see tons of mistakes, but like
I've noticed a lot of these tiny little things during the entire series actually, and I wanted to make a compilation of that and show it to you, but I wasn't sure how you would respond to that.
Yeah, no, trust me, I see them. I see them all, like, and it's usually like the second I upload it, and I'm like, oh fuck, man, I'm like, well, it's too late now, you know.
All right,
things happen.
So not looking for the reasoning here because we already know Zeno's battle form. I want to know more about the design. So to me, it resembles a bit the Mother of Existence, also known as the Man of Miracles from Spawn. It kind of resembles that. Did you take inspiration from anywhere at all for the design itself?
Man of Miracles? Let me look that up. Short answer is no, I did not. Yeah, he was always just supposed to be like a glowing silhouette. I mean,
I'll send you a picture through Discord.
A lot of people said it looks like Ben 10 or whatever.
Ben 10. I did not see that in him, to be honest. Oh yeah, maybe the one of his aliens is like this also black figure with a universe inside his body. Alien X. There we go. Sorry, I didn't follow Ben N that long. I only watched the 2 first seasons and I was done with it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't copy it from anything. I mean, it's just a silhouette. It's a glowing silhouette. I mean, that's not like that hard to think of.
From anything to do the I don't know exactly what it's called, but you made it green screen, right? And then put a layer on top of that sort of resembles a universe inside of his body.
Yeah, so actually I was going to use that for Archon. So the original design was what Zeno looks like was actually supposed to be Archon. And
that was gonna be my next question actually. If I didn't give you permission to use my design, what would you have done with it? That was my next question.
He was just gonna be like a silhouette with kind of like galaxy, like space inside of him, like more dark though, and probably like red eyes. And then Zeno was gonna be the same thing, but like more light. And so you were going to have a being of pure light versus a being of pure dark. And that's basically what it was going to be if I couldn't get your design.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, considering they're like there's no reason for, you know, in my opinion, to have hair or all these like features or anything if they're just like masses of energy, you know?
Yeah. All right. I want to double down again to the beginning of the interview, right? So we've talked a little bit about the opposition of certain individuals, disagreements with your methods, and what I want to know is how do you handle the criticism? How do you cope with that?
Well, I try not to watch those videos. I've watched a few of them, but it just like it kind of just like messes with, I guess, your mental state. You know, in the beginning, I was always like I love reaction videos, right? So like I would always, especially when I would release a Goku vs Saitama, I would like be typing, you know, MastarMedia or Goku vs Saitama and then filter by like the last hour to see like what people were saying about me. And it was always like really exciting watching these videos. And then I started to see the negative videos. And so I'd watch them at first and I'd be like, well, well, hold on, like this isn't true, this isn't true. And eventually got to a point where I just stopped searching my name. It's like I said before, a lot of people are gonna use your name to get their own views, and a lot of people are just gonna like not know the truth or just spit out some crap, some negative crap, because it's more entertaining. And so like just filling your mind with that stuff it's just bad for your mind. You could spend all day arguing with these people. Like some people just have it out for you. You could spend all day arguing with them and proving them wrong time and time again, and they're just going to keep arguing with you. And it takes at the end of the day, it just takes like way too much energy. So So
basically just ignore.
Yeah, you just ignore it all. And then you listen to your friends,
Talk with your friends, see what they have to say.
Yeah,
just
like
ignore
Shaka, for example, or Pryd, or, I got plenty of friends online they'll like, I tell them, like, look, if there's some legitimate criticism, like, let me know. And like, they're not afraid to just stand up and be like, oh, you did this wrong, or you shouldn't do this, or you should ask for permission of this before you use it. And
Shaka came in between us as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so like when you have friends like that who will like let will give you reality checks, like you don't need to watch videos from these people when, like 80% of the stuff they're saying is just BS anyway. And then like the things that are true are things that you like acknowledge. Like one of the things that like I never understood that people get off on is when you say like Mastar exposed for tracing, like how can you expose someone for something that they're completely open about?
Yeah, you basically admitted to it.
I have admitted to it tons of times. I used to stream myself tracing. It's what I do is editing. If I take Vegeta grabbing Goku's shirt and I edit out Goku and I put Saitama there, it's editing. Tracing is just the medium of editing that I'm doing. But
yeah, you are going over the same lines of the character that you keep in. Right?
Yes, but I mean, if I was just using the actual footage of the show and I just use After Effects,
it's transformative, is what you're saying. Like,
well, yes and no. I mean, some scenes obviously no, but I think the majority of the episode as a whole, yes, it is completely transformative. I mean, it's a brand new story. Obviously, I make changes to most of the characters. I mean, I've always seen it as editing, and that's why I've been open about it. And I honestly don't think it's a big deal if you're doing like a fan animation, like in honor of the show, like as a tribute for the show. Now, obviously, if it's a commercial product and you're like stealing animations, or you're like applying to a job using other people's animations or something, yes, I think there's a line to be crossed. When you're taking an artist's work and you're cutting off their logo and putting yours and then putting it on Instagram, yes, I think that's crossing the line. But I think if you're just doing editing as a fan work because you love the show so much, I don't think that it's such a big deal. But I think that a lot of these naysayers, like they've turned it into such a negative thing and they've made me such an easy target to like hate that people have just jumped on it because they just simply don't understand it. And I've thought about explaining this in a video a million times, and all it's going to do is just fire up the trolls, and they're just going to want to like argue with me and make more videos. And so I just ignore it because at the end of the day, look, there's over 3 million people that love it. The amount of people that have an issue with it is like 1,000, 10,000 max, right? And they're just very, very loud. So they're everywhere, just puking out comments and stuff. But at the end of the day, they don't matter. What matters is, do people enjoy it? I mean, if it was the opposite, if it was 10,000 people loved it and 3 million people hated it, I think that's a reality check. But if you invest all your time on these like ants or these bees just like poking you, you're just never going to go anywhere, man. And part of the reason that I've been able to finish this is because I just ignore all that and just keep focused on creating content. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people admire me for that. I very easily could have responded to these videos. I could have utilized my fan base to go attack them or like they did to me, but I've always just taken the high ground and just said, whatever, talk your shit. I'm just gonna keep making content and giving people what they want, what they came for. And it's a shitty thing, I think, on YouTube, this like kind of forced negativity. I think it's shitty that people are so quick to hop onto a hate bandwagon without trying to form their own opinions and judgments based on the information. But that's just a state of human nature. And so you can't even like get mad at that at the end of the day. You just have to do the best you can.
All right. So since the 4 years ago you started, genuine criticisms. All right. Let's ignore the negative for now. Genuine criticism, positive criticisms, or criticisms that you know are negative from your part but have been good points from those that gave the criticism. Have you learned anything from them? And is there anything that you might have done differently since then? If you could go back now, armed with the knowledge that you have now, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I probably wouldn't have done Anime War, honestly.
Okay, yeah.
Well, for one, if I was going to do it, it would have just been like a one-of. It wouldn't have been like a whole series. I mean, I learned the hard way to never do a series on YouTube, animation-wise. If it's like a video series, I think it's a really good thing. But animation series, considering like how time-consuming they are, definitely not a good idea to try and do an animated series on YouTube. That's like the worst thing. Like you're taking something that's extremely expensive to produce, you're giving it out for free, and you're getting people invested in it so that they want more of it for free. And then like they don't realize the toll mentally and financially that it's taking on the creator. They just want more, right? They want more and more and more, and you're giving it for free, so you're like kind of just screwing yourself, which is kind of what I did.
Yeah, because you can't monetize something like Anime War.
I mean, you can't sell it. You can't sell like merch with it on it. And there's all these copyright issues involved. I mean, YouTube is also like back when I started Goku vs. Saitama, the copyright system wasn't nearly like it is today. I mean, copyrights are just so horrible. It's like everybody's fighting to try and take your videos or take it down, or that's part of the reason that YouTube has just like gone to shit. I mean, it's like so hard to make any kind of content. Creators are suffering. The platform is not what it used to be. And so if I would have had knowledge of the future, my channel would be completely different. I don't even know if I would have covered Dragon Ball, to be honest. I probably would have done like gaming or news or something like that. In order to be successful on YouTube, you need to make a lot of long content, cheap and fast. That's how you succeed on YouTube. That is not what animation is, man. It is the complete opposite. So, yeah, I think that pretty much answers it.
All right. So maybe a bit of a joke question. At the end of Anime War, Goku, Vegeta, they fuse, Gogeta. Then they fuse with Saitama, create the Universal Spirit Bomb. But what really killed our Khan in the end was Yagami Light.
Yagami. Right? Exactly.
That's all the questions I have. Basically, I want to thank you again for taking enough interest in my design. Speaking of which, there were a lot of other artists who had a hand in the production of Anime War. I would like to take a moment to give them a shout out for helping to make Anime War what it is today. From the top of my head, there's MERIMO, Melavelli, Audi Loki, MysticKon, Etoilec1, Jhanzou,
NNameNick, Fienamation,
Shakadiemens helped with backgrounds.
Shakadiemens, Clovertech Productions helped me a crap ton. NNameNick was in the beginning. There was a landscape artist that helped with some of the ones that you saw. I think his name was like Danny Gonzalez. And in the very early, like first episode or two, he did a few. He hand painted a few.
Shout out to all of those people. I might put some links in the description as well for those people, because they really made Anime War better than it was, right?
Yeah, they helped tremendously. I couldn't have done it without them.
And to you, Mastar, thank you for joining me. Do you have any closing words for the people watching this video?
Yeah, if you guys want to learn how to do animation, do it, but don't start a series. And if you want to start by like using Dragon Ball characters or anime characters just to kind of like learn the process and everything, that's fine. But it's much more important in the end that you create your own product. Like parodies are fun, but they'll only take you so far. At the end of the day, the people who are going to really make it through animation are the ones who are doing completely original content. And so keep that in mind, that you want to invest your time in making your own original show or cartoon or whatever it is, because that's going to take you years to get the foundation to build up to, and you want as much time as possible to work on that foundation. And so learn whatever way you can, and once you have that knowledge, make your own show or just do one-ofs. Don't do a series on YouTube.
All right, nice. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this interview with Mastar, press the like button, subscribe, do all that shit. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then,
Thank you.
bye.